Sound is.
Nick, you and I both grew up watching rugby league. You're a St George Illawarra fan, my whole family, South Sydney Rabbitohs tragics. Did it ever occur to you that Greece would ever have a rugby league team, much less a place in the Rugby League World Cup?
I didn't, Tom. It's unbelievable.
Not only has Greece made history by qualifying in the Rugby League World Cup in England, which kicks off on October 15, the side will be coming up against serious and historic opposition in Group A in the form of France, Samoa and England. So mark it on your calendars and get behind the boys in England. We know there are Greeks everywhere, so for our Greek listeners in the UK, make sure you're there to support the boys. Get your tickets. We want to see everyone with their whistles, their flags, all sorts of stuff out there, really showing that Greek spirit. What do you reckon, Nick? Are we going to see the same type of scenes that we see in the soccer over in Greece?
I don't know. I reckon there'll be a few flares. What do you think?
There's got to
be a flare there.
We're not condoning that type of behaviour.
For a shock.
Yeah.
Rugby league crowd, seeing the Greeks turn up.
Yeah, maybe. Actually, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
It will be, yeah. There'll be a lot out there for sure.
Yeah. We have some pretty important people from the Greek side here in the distillery with us. First and foremost, we have Greece's World Cup coach with us. He's currently assistant coach for the North Queensland Cowboys, a former NRL first grader for Easts, Western Suburbs Magpies, West Tigers, Wakefield Trinity and the Warrington Wolves. It's, of course, the great Steve Georgallis. Welcome, Steve.
Steve.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good,
Nick?
thanks, mate.
Welcome, mate. It's a nice list there of teams you played for. Hey, you get around.
Yeah, well, it's probably the same as my coaching career. I've been at a few clubs. It's our industry.
So you were at the Bulldogs recently as well, weren't you?
Yeah, Bulldogs the last club. Been the Cowboys the last 2 years. So there's not too many teams left in the NRL to go to, but there's a few people that want me to go to the Dragons, but I'm not too sure about that club at the moment.
Anyone in this room by any chance? What do you reckon?
No, there's...
I think we need help, or maybe we do. No, you'll do good up there, mate. I think you're following the weather, aren't you? It's nice to warm up there.
Yeah, it's very warm
Smart
up there
move.
compared to Sydney in the last 6 months.
So you haven't had a winter, have you, in Sydney? You've been stuck up there and
You've been stuck up there, yeah.
12 months of the year.
Yeah, no, it's the temperature's 23, 24 in winter, and obviously a bit hotter in summer.
Smart move, mate.
Good
Smart
life.
move.
Good life.
Well, we're so glad to have you here, Steve. Thanks very much. And next to Steve, I am super proud to welcome our first South Sydney Rabbitoh onto Ouzo Talk. He's one of South's and the game's rising stars who helped Greece qualify for the World Cup in the first place. He's 1/3 of the bromance called the Three Amigos at the club, alongside Blake Taff and fellow Greek Lachlan Ilias, who will probably halfback the side. He also played for my and my son's junior club, the Maroubra Lions, which automatically makes him a top bloke. Peter Mamouzelos, welcome to Ouzo Talk, mate.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Pete, welcome, mate. Actually, I remember you when you were 15 in 2016 in the Greek Oztag team.
Yeah.
I think I played with your dad.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. And I think you were on the sideline one time. We were doing a training session and we said, come and play because we needed the numbers. And we thought, we got this little bitsy dicky lined up. But you stepped around the whole team as a 15-year-old. I thought, fuck, this guy's got something.
Yeah, well, it's not that hard to run past my dad. He's pretty slow, but...
You ran past me too, mate.
Yeah, no, good times. That was actually pretty good. I think we went to New Zealand that trip, wasn't it?
We did, yeah, New Zealand. And you played in the, 20s?
Yeah, I think it was the 20s.
Yeah, as a 15-year-old. And you got our players player, I think.
I think so. I can't really remember. But
yeah, you did,
I had
mate.
fun. That was good fun.
Yeah, you did. Awesome, mate. Welcome, mate. Welcome to Ouzo Talk.
And just quickly, it's important to mention that Nick, you actually represented Greece recently in the Oztag World Cup.
I did, mate. Yeah, I've had probably 20 caps now for the over 40s team. So did all right. Went up to Coffs Harbour. We had a couple of good wins. Beat Cook Islands, Malta, and we had to get a result against Ireland to make the quarters, and we did. So we had an 8-all draw against Ireland, and we ended up playing Australia in the quarterfinals.
How did that go?
Well, they haven't lost I don't think they've ever lost.
Really?
Actually. Yeah, they've never lost, but we did well.
So how many injuries did you come away with?
Well, I think I'm still injured, mate. I can't run. My knee's fucked. So, and I'm not joking, idiots.
So how long before you hang the boots up?
Well, I wanted to play one more year. So apparently there's another World Cup in Ireland next year. So we'll see. I don't want to quit yet. But then again, our mate over here, Steve Georgallis, was in the same team. We played in the World Cup in 2018 together.
They're really good trips.
Yeah. Was he any good, though, most importantly?
Mate, they're all good. They're all good. Especially after a few Ouzos, we're all good.
Outstanding.
Yes, they're really good trips. I missed this one this year. I'm obviously up in Townsville, but they're a great bunch of blokes and they all love playing for their country, Greece. And Yeah, I do miss it.
Yeah.
I hope to play next year. They're probably the things you've got to worry about, injuries at our age. But you don't seem to worry about them because, again, Ouzo fixed everything.
That's it.
That's right. And Steve's not joking. A few of them were drinking before a game and having Ouzo. We won't mention any names, but there are a few boys.
It's like rugby league in the 80s. You know, you got the 70s and 80s. Tommy Radonicus lighting up at half time and all that sort of. Actually, you were coached by Tommy, weren't you?
Yeah. I grew up through the 80s and 90s. Seen a lot of changes in the game. Some good, some not so good.
Oh, dear.
Have. Yeah,
Good stuff.
So we're going to get you down there, Tom, for the Greek Oztag team.
I can't run anymore.
Hey?
I got nothing.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. A few Ouzos.
A few Ouzos. Yeah, it could be, in my own mind. Anyway, last but not least, we also have Greek Rugby League media manager, among other things, Terry Liberopoulos, who has been involved in the Greek game pretty much since the beginning. And he comes armed with some genuinely unbelievable stories. Terry, welcome, mate.
Hi, guys. Great to be here. I've always wanted to come on Ouzo Talk, so thanks for having me here.
Well, we're looking forward to this discussion. And Nick, we've named the teams. What do you reckon? Should we kick it all off?
I think so, mate. Let's kick off.
Now, we're recording early in the morning, so we're not drinking ouzo, as we normally do. We're drinking frappe and Greek coffee and piccolos and all that sort of thing, aren't we, Nick?
We are, mate. Yeah, it is a bit early. There's reasons why we're starting early. But are you sure you're not having any ouzo, mate? What's going on there?
Yeah, guilty. I've put a little bit of ouzo in the Greek coffee.
He's too happy for this time of the morning.
I know.
He is.
I've been up since 5, coffee back to back.
Mate, I did see you actually. I was waiting for the boys to turn up, and you were hitting in the where we keep all our liquor, and you were topping up. What the fuck's he doing?
I've only had a little bit. It's okay.
Not in the
It's
morning.
okay. Have you ever had ouzo in your Greek
No,
coffee?
I haven't.
It's
You keep on
outstanding.
going on about
You
it.
boys? It's good stuff. You should give it a try. Just a little bit.
I think someone in the room has. Come on, Steve, own up.
Yeah.
You have?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Where exactly in Greece are you boys from? Steve, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, so my dad's from a little island called Tilos in the Kanisa, the Dokanese Islands. Main island being Rhodes in those islands, and that's where one of the bigger domestic teams in our rugby league competition is, the Rhodes Knights.
Yes.
Who have, I think, Terry, correct me if I'm right, I think they've won every single competition in the domestic comp.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, every single grand final.
Yeah, so that's where my father's from, that area, and my mother's actually Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah, and my father and mother met in Sydney. My father obviously come out on the boat, and I think they docked in Melbourne, and then he moved his way up to Sydney as an 18-year-old kid. Left Greece just before the conscription, so he had to go in the army,
Nice. Time
which is a lot of Greeks did in those days.
Yeah.
After
What
the
year was
Second
it?
World War.
Do you remember what year you came out?
I'm pretty sure. Well, he was born in 39, so if I go back 18 years,
49, 57.
yeah, about 57, 58.
Okay.
I think he came out.
On the Patrice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think my dad came on the same boat.
Yep.
Yeah.
My yaya as well.
Different years though, but
Yeah, and he found his way to Sydney from Melbourne with his brother, and then his brother moved on to Canada.
oh wow.
And my father stayed here, and obviously you couldn't get back once you got here. It was a one-way ticket on the boat, which I think took about 3 months. And, you know, when he slept in the park benches in the city, and looking for work, did bits and pieces, worked in North Sydney, the factories there, the brick factories, the glass factories, with a lot of other Greeks. And
Is that Moore Park nearly?
Sorry?
At Moore Park with the glass factory?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And he did it tough for a long time.
Can't believe that. He actually slept on park benches.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you didn't have sponsors or people that
Yeah.
they were the original family members that came out that started it for everyone else that came. He and my brother, and his brother, my uncle.
Unbelievable.
Big move for them in those days. But again, they left Greece, and Greece was pretty well much in turmoil after the Second World
Yeah.
War. And then he worked in a few restaurants as waiters, and
As they all did. apparently.
yeah. So whatever jobs he could get, and then I think he moved out to Kingsgrove, Belmore, Canterbury area, bought a block of land, built a house, and he's still there now.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Going strong.
He's he loves his Ouzo too.
Good man. What's his name?
Leo Georgallis or Elias Georgallis.
Lovely Leo.
Lovely Leah.
Yeah.
Good
Cheers to
stuff.
Leah. What a champion.
Yeah. What
So
about
how
you?
old's your dad now?
My dad, he'd be 39. He's 83. Yeah, he'd be 83 in September.
He's still smashing in the Ouzos. Good on him.
Yeah, he's very proud of what he's achieved, his family, and he loves the footy. He loves going out and watching rugby league. I'm pretty sure Pete's dad's the same.
Yeah.
They
Who
love
does he support though? Is he a Doggies fan?
But he supports whoever I'm involved
Oh, really?
with. Yeah. So I'm at the Cowboys now, so he'll support the Cowboys.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
He'd be so proud of you, I reckon, for sure.
Yeah, he loves that. I mean, he loves the fact that there's rugby league in Greece, and that, we've got an international team, and we're in the World Cup.
Yep.
He's super wrapped about all that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Pete, what about you, mate? Where's your family from in Greece?
So my dad's side is from Kalimnos,
Okay.
and my mum's side is from Zakynthos.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So one on each side.
Yeah.
It's good. You're a good mix.
Yeah, pretty good mix.
Do you guys go back?
I haven't been back yet. I went when I was younger, about 3 years old, but I don't really remember it.
Yeah, right.
When we go to Greece for the Greek team, we only go to Athens. So
Yep.
it's some probably after footy because obviously the footy season goes through peak Greek time. But
I was going to say, one of the drawbacks of being a professional athlete, you don't get to spend summer in Greece
yeah,
because you're here playing footy.
yeah, exactly. So probably after my career, that's something that I'd go over and just explore a bit and just take it all
Absolutely. And what about you, Terry? Where's your family from?
Family's from Peloponnese, from Pidos. Actually, our village just outside of Pidos, Epitalion.
Mainlanders.
Mainlanders were true Greeks. The true Greeks are stayed,
Oh, come
true
on, you
to
two.
the Greek heritage, didn't mix with the Turks or anything like that. So we saved Greece.
Mate, that's why you're sitting next to me, mate. We are mainlanders.
Yeah, we are mainlands. We're the real Greeks. That's another T-shirt we should make up.
Exactly. We should have like a state of origin, but mainlanders versus islanders.
No, we'll just kill them. No, it wouldn't be fair. So let them play each other first, and then
Hunters versus fishermen.
I've said this in many episodes before. They sit around fish all day, while we go hunt wild boar with our bare hands.
That's right. Look, and it's the same area where the Spartans came. That's I don't have to say anything more.
But hang on, Terry, didn't you just say that Rhodes, the island, are the major winners of the competition in Greece?
Well, we are trying to get a team from Pidos, Pidos Tigers. So actually, we can't call them Tigers anymore because we've got Parama Tigers in Athens. But just going back to where my parents came from, they've been here now. They came in the 60s like everyone else, probably the same boat.
Yeah.
Been here about 57 years, and both my parents still can't speak English. I still talk to them in Greek because I can't understand, which is good because at least my Greek's still there.
Yeah.
Every time I go back to Greece, I just like to talk to them in Greek, so I just can keep talking Greek.
So when you show up at home, the first thing that happens, I'm guessing, is all the letters come out. And you've got to read all their mail.
Yes, that is one.
What's
this letter?
Yeah.
And Tithelis Nafas.
Yep.
That's it. That's the first two words. And it's I'll go every couple of days to check on them. They're both 88 now.
Yeah, right.
Still at Marrickville. And my dad, when they grew up through the war, Second World War, and because they bombed everything, the Nazis, they actually had to, the parents couldn't afford to feed them. So my dad at 9, 10 years old actually had to go out and look for work in the farms, slept in the barns for 2 years every night. Steve's dad did it hard as well, and my dad, and you imagine doing that now, 10 years old, you're sleeping in the barn and just get fed. Do a hard day's work, just get fed, just to live. And he always wanted to go to Australia because he said, look, there's no future here. And he came on the boat here. My mum sponsored him, and they've just been together ever since. And they've given us a great life. So I really appreciate that.
It's really interesting though that most of that generation has such bad memories growing up over there, wars and all that sort of thing, and yet they are the proudest. They couldn't be any more Greek. They're just so proud of their heritage, despite all of that.
They left because of all the crap they copped, but they're still very attached to the Greek culture.
Well, they left
and the motherland
to have a better life.
Yeah,
Give us a better life, which they did.
I don't think they wanted to leave.
Yeah.
They were just forced to, like you said, to give a better life to their family. I know a lot of people that have gone back in the last 10 years, but they are very proud Greeks.
Yeah.
It's funny how, Terry, whenever we go over there and we're in Athens, they always say that we're more Greek than the Greeks that live in Athens, because obviously we still do live in a little bit of a bubble here with all our heritage, and we live sort of the 80s, 90s of Greece here. But there's a lot of very proud Greeks that live in Australia. They're not Australian, but love their heritage.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've noticed with our podcast, all around the world, the Greek diaspora, they're more patriotic and Greek than the Greeks themselves.
Yeah, it was quite weird when they said that to us, Terry. We just went into a Euros shop in Athens to get a Euros, and they were saying that, they couldn't believe, like Terry would talk to them in Greek, and they couldn't believe how Greek we were, but we were from Australia.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, boys, a general question about this World Cup campaign. I mean, we all grew up watching the game here in Australia, watching the Kangaroos play the Kiwis and England in test matches. Taking yourself out of it for a moment, what does it feel like for you to know, A, that Greece plays rugby league now in a domestic competition, and B, that we're in a World Cup? It's no gimmick anymore, is it? What does it feel like for you blokes?
Pete will probably answer this question as a player, because probably when he first started, he didn't know there was a Greek rugby league team. So I suppose getting his view on how it feels would be important. Then I'll tell you my view.
Okay, what do you reckon, Pete?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so as I was speaking before, going back to the the Greek Oztag, I met Jim Pizanis.
Oh, yeah.
And he said to my dad, why don't you bring your son down, and there's a tournament coming up. What was the tournament called again?
The Emerging Nations tournament in 2018.
Yeah, and he said, come down, the boys are going to be training. Come down to training, see how you go. Anyway, I remember turning up at
very
Belmore.
Emotional about it.
Sorry. Yeah, and I remember turning up at Belmore training session. I remember seeing all the boys there, and they were all, grown men. And I sort of felt intimidated. I was only 16 at the time.
Wow.
And I remember Georgie was there coaching the boys, and I was just waiting there on the sideline, and this old Greek fella handed me some gear. I put it on, and I went out and trained, and I just thought I was going to train with the boys for a bit. And Georgie said to my dad, do you think Pete's ready to play? And my dad, before he even asked me, he said, yeah, he's keen. So
he's throwing you to the wolves.
That's pretty cool, because obviously big South fan growing up and a fan of rugby league, and I didn't really know there was a Greek rugby league team until I met Jim. And as soon as I found out there was a Greek rugby league team, I was keen to play. Yeah. And it just brings back that first tournament was pretty special, getting to know all the boys, and we've all found a connection together now. And to see how far we've come from that little tournament to now making it into the World Cup, I think is pretty special, and all the support and everyone getting behind us is pretty cool. So
you played as a 16-year-old. Was that your first cap for Greece?
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
Wait, who did you play against?
It was
Hungary. Hungary was the first game. It was I think you were 17. You was almost like 17, and Steve said to me, he was supposed just to train with the team, get a bit of experience. And Steve came up to me and goes, "Is he allowed to play?" And I went up to, and I go up to his dad Theo, and I go, "If he gets selected, would you allow him to play?" And Theo just goes, "Yeah." Just it. That was it. Just yeah. And that's it. And I found out later from his mum that there was a big argument saying, he's only a baby, he can't play. But Peter was player of the tournament against grown men. Yeah.
You're kidding.
Killed it.
Unbelievable.
What position?
Hooker.
Played hooker.
Yeah.
Tough position too.
Yeah, in the middle, around all the big boys. So.
Wow. So Steve, you saw something in him within that 16 something.
Yeah,
he
had all the skills, passing from dummy half, and probably the biggest thing that he had was he had a lot of courage, and he wasn't afraid. And they're probably the two things you need in rugby league: not be afraid and courage. And he might talk about the fact that he was smaller than everyone else, but he still come out and he still put the training gear on, and he still trained, and he still played. And they're the aspects that you look for in a football player. And skill-wise, I knew he had the skill because he's been playing Oztag since how old?
I think it started when I was 13.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, right.
So he's got all to play Oztag, you needed passing skills and left, right, and all that sort of stuff. And you know that too, Nick.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah, so I knew the kid could play, and I just thought to myself, wow, let's just pick him. The whole Emerging Nations tournament was about developing players, and in a few years' time, we were going to be playing qualifiers, and obviously Pete would have been a little bit older then, and there was a few other players there that played from the Oztag team, and so I thought, well, we'll just put them in. And it wasn't about winning the tournament. was about finding more Greek Australians that could play for Greece, and we did. We found 3 or 4, didn't we, Terry?
Yeah, it was very successful because we had 4 players come out from Greece to play in that tournament as well.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we flew 4 players out, obviously to develop them, to put them through all the training techniques and things that we do in Australia, and they took that back to their clubs in Greece in 2018.
You talk about brave. I remember last year, I think you played the Cowboys, and Jason Tamalolo ran straight at you. You didn't flinch. You went straight in, and I think you did. No, you tackled him. It was
And JT's massive.
Oh, he's a machine, and we're sitting here on the couch watching it, and we're
I didn't
watching
tell him
you.
to do that, by the way.
Sure you did. Test him. But yeah, mate, you didn't flinch. You came in, you hit him, and you tackled him. I thought, fuck, this guy's got something. And, you know, how old are you now? You're
21.
Unbelievable. Big effort. I was going to say, is there some sort of pathway now for the Greek kids playing rugby league now? Because we've only got the international level. Is it like an under-20s and under-18s? Is this something that we're going to be looking at working on in the future?
I think their whole purpose was to get the game going in Greece. Because at the end of the day, we're just Greek Australians trying to promote a game of rugby league. And it's easy to do in this country, but to actually have it in your own country or the country that you're from or where your family was born in Greece was our main goal. And just recently, they were able to get their federation in Greece. It was a long process,
Yes.
and it'd probably take another 3 of these podcasts to actually explain what happened. But
we're going to talk about it with Terry, I think.
You can talk about it, Terry. So that was our main reason, and we started way back in 2002. Terry and I and another guy named Colin Malonis. And then we had a period there for 3 years where nothing was happening. And then 2012 we started up again. Got in contact with some people in Greece, and in the last 10 years it's taken us to qualify for the World Cup. So in doing so, what we've done is got a domestic competition in Greece. Terry will talk more about the teams and the clubs that we needed to get there. You've got a women's competition. All the junior grades will probably start over there, development through schools and all things like that. But here in Australia, basically for us, we already have that system of the under-18s, under-20s, SG Ball, Jersey Flag, where we know what Greek kids are coming through, so we can look at them, keep an eye on them, and then they could play, obviously, for the international teams, because it doesn't matter how old you are or young you are, we'll pick them, as we did with Pete. Probably at the end of the day, there's probably only going to be 20, 24 players from Australia that are good enough to play in internationals. To answer your question, junior-wise and development-wise, there's not really anything that we're going to have in this country because the system's there already itself.
Yeah, right.
It's just about knowing who our heritage players are and who can play for Greece. But Greece in itself, that's where it's going to happen with development. And mate, Greeks are built to play rugby league.
Right.
Pete and Terry will tell you, every time we go over there and run coaching clinics, they just love it. They love the contact. They love the wrestle. They love everything about the sport. Now that they've got their federation, with the support from everyone here in Australia, I think it'll kick off.
So tell us a bit about the makeup of this Greek side. I understand there's like a quota for how many domestic players need to be involved. What's that process look like in terms of selecting that team now?
Well, we decided at Steve that we were going to include 8. You can have as many heritage players as you want in the World Cup.
Oh, right, okay.
But we decided, we include 8 players from the Greek domestic comp. I think it was just important to include them, part of the World Cup. They're doing such a great job in Greece. We didn't want to just take 25 heritage players. We want to take players that develop them, be part of the squad, play games, and they can take that back to their clubs in Greece, to the training sessions, and build on that.
From Australia, we can probably expect the likes of, obviously, Peter to be involved. How much NRL talent do you think is actually going to be part of this team?
Like you see, you just mentioned Lockie and there, Billy. There's not a lot of NRL talent, but we've got a lot of players underneath that as well, playing, in the State Cup, playing Queensland Cup, New South Wales Cup. We've got some really good players, even they're playing bush football like Sebastian Searle, and we've got our skipper Jordan Meads playing up on the Sunshine Coast. They've been part of the system too, and they've been part of the Greek Rugby League for many years.
Obviously, you haven't announced the team yet.
No, we haven't announced the team. We've got a pretty idea. I think, Terry, we've announced about 40 players that are in like a training squad because, obviously we're still 2 months out from the World Cup and you can have injuries. So we need to name that team by middle of September.
Well, it's at our World Cup dinner. We're going to announce the team. So it's going to be at the Grand Roxy here in Brighton. Got a lot of ex-players coming. Current players will be there. Will be announced. George Peponis, who was the first... he's a Greek-born person to play professional rugby league in Australia. He went on to captain Australia in 1979, captained the Bulldogs to the 1980.
Every Greek parent loved him because he was the doctor, he was Greek, he captained Australia, had everything.
He got a lot of Greeks involved in rugby league, so he'll be there to announce the team. He will also have the players, hopefully having a video link up with the players from Greece that will get announced as well. All the players that used to play rugby league first grade, like Braithen Nasta, John Skandalis, Michael Kokitas, Arthur Katinas, Nick Kuparitzas. They'll be there on the night as well. We acknowledge their part in playing rugby league, and quite a few other officials from the game will be there as well.
Fantastic. Now, Pete, obviously you've played a number of first grade games already. You helped Greece qualify for this World Cup. What are your expectations in terms of coming up against sides like Samoa and England in particular? Do you think it's going to go up a level for you?
Yeah, definitely. England and Samoa are both great sides. They're going to have a lot of talent, but just to be there and experience the whole World Cup. Obviously, our first World Cup, so it's going to have a special feel to it. But yeah, we're going to have to step up another level as a team, and I think all the boys will thrive from that, especially once they get to the stadium and they get the feel for the crowd and stuff like that. I think all the boys will be excited, so I'm really keen to go.
Who are you playing first? Is it France?
I think it's France, is it?
Yeah,
France.
Playing France first.
Okay, and that's probably your best chance getting a good result. We were feeling confident?
Yeah. Well, every game we go to, we'll feel confident, but yeah, I think all the boys, especially our first game, they'll be up for it. So
yeah, good stuff. Yeah, we'll be watching it here for sure, mate. Can't wait. So to get to the World Cup, so it was a bit of a trek, wasn't it, for you guys? You travelled around the world.
Yeah.
So you started off in, was it Kiev, Ukraine? Is it?
I'll let Terry go through all that process, but probably the most important thing that you probably need to understand is that to qualify for the World Cup, we had to go through certain divisions, and we were only allowed 4 heritage players. So the majority of the team were domestic players from Greece, which a lot of people don't realise. So I think the 4 players that were mainly involved in that part of the process was Pete, Jordan Meads, Terry Constantine from Melbourne, and Sebastian Sell, who plays out at
Middlegon.
Group 6, Middlegon, yeah. So those 4 players paid their own way during the middle of a football season. And Terry will go through the games that they played in. And I was obviously coaching at the Bulldogs at the time, and they were talking to me, and I would FaceTime them and would talk about footy and the games that we were playing. And, they were in a little bit of panic because the coach over there at the time was from Greece and obviously didn't know how to convey messages that we were used to in Australia, in Greek, etc., etc. But the biggest thing was that there was 4 players that were heritage, and there was 13 that were domestic. And so, if you really think about that, I'm not too sure, Terry, but does that happen in most teams that try and qualify that have never been in the World Cup before?
Well, definitely in the European section. I know the Asia Pacific they don't, and that's another talking point. That's why a lot of the development is happening in Europe, because they do have that quota where a lot of domestic players have to play.
So there's a quota in the qualifiers, but not in the actual World Cup.
Yes,
that's correct. Yeah,
and that's what led us to the decision of what's the use of having all these players help you qualify for a World Cup if you're just going to pick 17 or 24 heritage players.
Yeah, right.
You're not really actually developing the game in the country where you want it to prosper, and you're not actually crediting those players that played it, that helped get Greece to the World Cup. You're not even crediting them with a game.
Yeah.
So we just come up with definitely going to put 8 domestic players in that team, and which means obviously 1 or 2 are going to be playing every week for those 3 qualifying games.
On the flip side of that, though, those domestic players, having that experience is going to be really good for them, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And believe it or not, I think Bastas was the first one. Stefanos Bastas, domestic player, was the first player to play in a professional competition in England, Division 2.
Wow.
If Terry will correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, he played with Doncaster too, so he did very well. And then went over to France to play in the professional competition as well.
Those avenues start to open up for those Greek domestic players where, they're playing with the Australian heritage players and learning the game, and then obviously going to ply their trade in professional competitions, earn some money, take it back to Greece. So he was the first one. He was the pioneer. And Bastos is still involved, and he, be obviously one of the domestic players that's picked for our team. But there's another 2 or 3 that have gone on and done the same thing. So with those 8 domestic players playing in the World Cup, all of a sudden, the whole world is seeing those 8 domestic players playing. They can promote that. There's an opportunity for those players to go back to Greece to promote their teams, their games. Those players then can see another avenue to be on the World Cup stage. So, I mean, it's unbelievable that we're actually at the World Cup, but follow on from it, it's going to be massive for the game in Greece. And now that they've got their federation and everything's in place for that to progress. So it's, for us, about the quota and about having those 8 domestic players is really important. And the 16 heritage players that get picked understand that. And I'm pretty sure Pete, he believes in the same, that every time we go to Greece and we run coaching clinics and we see these players and they're developing and they're young kids that want to play the game, actually makes us proud that we've actually done what we've done.
Well, how pleased are you with the quality of the football over there at the moment?
They're obviously probably, what do you reckon, Jim Beam, what's that, probably 3rd division level, as in just under New South Wales Cup?
Man, that's high.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, physically, the 2 aspects of the game, they're not afraid. They'll run hard and they don't mind putting their body on the line for a tackle. They just got to learn the skill part of the game, the skills, the passing, the structures and things like that. But it doesn't take them long to pick it up. And again, you can't coach toughness.
And they're tough.
Yeah, they're very tough, and they're big bastards too.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, they're not small. Some of the boys over in Greece are big boys, and you'll probably see that in the World Cup with a few of the players that play in the
Bastos
team.
looks massive.
Sorry?
Bastos looks huge.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah.
What is he, 6'2"? How big is he?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if he's 6'2", but he's and
thick.
Passionate, mate. He'd run through a brick wall, and it's quite interesting to see when they sing in their national anthem and how proud they are to play for their country, how switched on and focused they are, and how proud they are to play for their country. So that's another reason why having 8 domestic players representing Greece is really important to us.
Every World Cup they talk about the sides that are the minnows. It doesn't sound like this is going to be the same kind of World Cup, or that Greece is going to be regarded as a minnow, given the level of quality we're talking about here.
I think we're a minnow in the stage of inexperience on that stage, but I suppose there's 16 teams in the World Cup, so we're ranked in the top 16 teams of the world. So
I think we're actually ranked 10th, according to the Rugby League World Cup.
11th now.
11th.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable in itself.
But everyone knows, Pete will say, Terry will say, there's probably 6 teams that are so far superior.
Yeah, right.
And then the other 10. So sometimes it depends on what side of the draw you get and
Sure.
what team you play and what time.
Yeah, and there's 48 countries now that play rugby league.
Yeah, it's probably a bit more. I think they're the ones that are ranked are the ones, they're official, but there's probably another 10 that are still playing a bit of footy as well. So it's growing. We only had 5 back in the mid-'80s, only 5 nations playing. So it really has grown.
So do you think we're going to have any Greek domestic players come to the NRL in the future?
Well, that'd be interesting.
Good question.
When we brought those 4 players out from Greece and they played in the competition, there was a few people asked about, and I don't know if they'd get to the NRL level. I mean, Pete and I, when we were playing rugby league from a young age, so we had all that development.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have that development. We're getting kids at 16, 17, trying to teach them a whole new sport, and they, there's pretty good acceleration of development.
Yeah.
And they have those aspects that we were talking about before about being tough and not afraid and willing to play and get stuck in there. But all that skill development from a young age that they miss out on, that's probably what's going to put them back. So,
And it's important to note that kids here are starting at 4 years old.
Yeah.
My son's 4 years old and started with Maroubra this year. The level of quality that he was up against this year was unbelievable. There were some kids there that were just like, really? already.
So if you want to
Tom,
talk about that,
you got to send me videos. Mate, his son is fucking good.
Really?
You should see the way he tackles.
Has he? It's obviously
Cover
got Greek
defence.
heritage.
Mate, he's very
The
good.
cover defence, you know, all the parents are looking at me going, "What are you feeding him?"
Yes,
Like, you didn't get that from me, mate.
And I suppose that's what you're going to see in Greece with the development that will start. We're probably looking about 12 years down the track. If they, if we get down to that sort of young age, that primary school age, of kids playing. But yeah, it's I might not see it in my lifetime, but probably the next one.
Yeah.
You might see one or two pop in the NRL.
Yeah.
They'll
Fingers
probably
crossed.
go to England. It's better. It's closer to them because they freak out when they think it's 24 hours to Australia.
That's true,
They
actually.
just don't. They can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
How
Putting up
do you
bail.
do it, guys? And I said, well, we're just used to it. That's life, But I think England, it's closer to home for them. They can always jump on a plane and go back home.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad standard of competition there as well.
Well, Pete, the only bloke in front of you at South holding you out of a permanent gig at starting hooker is Damien Cook, and he's going to be the Australian hooker. How good is it to have someone like that in front of you? Are you getting a lot of lessons off Cookie? Is he helping you out with your game?
Yeah, me and Cookie have a good relationship. Obviously, at training, we're very competitive, both of us. So we're always trying to get the better of each other. But, that's a healthy and it's a good relationship to have, especially when, like this year, played New South Wales Cup. So most of our games were before first grade. So as he's arrived to the stadium, he'd come out and he'd watch me play. And then at training, he'd say what I did good and what I can work on. And
Wow.
yeah, so he's been really good like that, and we're also good mates too. So if I have a problem, I'll go to him and I'll speak to him about it, and he'll give me advice because he's been there before. And yeah, we've got a really good relationship. So yeah, obviously the Australian hooker, and he's obviously the best to learn off. So I'm in a pretty fortunate position.
Can I ask you? So you're a professional athlete now. It's what you do full time. So what's a week look like for you? Do you train 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week?
Yeah, it depends on what day the actual game is. So if we play on a Saturday, we'll train Monday, Wednesday, have our captains run on Friday, and then obviously play on the Saturday. So it just depends what day.
Okay, and what's training consist of? Is it like a 2-hour session? Is it really hard? Is it ball skills?
So we'll arrive around 7:30 in the morning, stretch for about 40 minutes, and then
40-minute stretching?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
wow.
and then we'll have our team meetings and stuff like that, and obviously go onto the field, about an hour and a half out there on the field, have a little break, and then we have our gym session, and then we're done for the day after that.
Wow. What about pre-season? Tell us about pre-season, because we hear a lot about pre-season training. So what did South do this year?
Yeah, pre-season's tough.
Don't give anything away.
It's just mainly fitness and just ball skills, working on that.
Do you do like boot camp? Do you run through the jungle and stuff like that?
This year,
carry logs on your shoulders?
Yeah. So this year we had a boot camp at Latrell's farm, Latrell Mitchell.
Oh yeah, in Taree.
In Taree, yeah. The thing was, we got there, and they sent all the older boys. So it was Campbell Graham, Damien Cook, Cameron Murray, all the leaders of the team, and they sent them out into the woods, and they cut down trees, logs, and they had to carry it all the way back to our camping site.
Wow.
So they were gone for about 2 hours, and they had to carry these logs all the way back to our camping site. And
So they got an axe.
Yeah.
So go out, chop a tree, and bring it back.
Yeah, and we were fortunate because we were going to do it, but one of the boys got COVID. I think Tom Burgess got COVID, so we had to cancel our trip, and we had to come home early. So
He was about to get on the team bus too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came into training that morning, and then he said he wasn't feeling well, and they said, just go home. But yeah, they found out that he had COVID, so we're pretty fortunate we didn't have to break our backs. But
wow, so that was one of the drills. So and then you camped, and every morning did you have drills? Was it 8 hours of running?
Well, the thing was, once we got there, we had to come back home.
Yeah, okay.
So we didn't do any training.
So the guys that chopped the trees down,
they were the only
one that.
Yeah. Okay. So we were pretty fortunate. While they were doing that, we were playing cards at the camping site. So we got away with a bit of hard work there.
Wow.
So Trell only got a few logs worth of firewood for this year.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Classic.
As we said earlier, Greece is coming up against some pretty awesome opposition, particularly in England and Samoa. Safe to say that you're going in as underdogs from a media perspective. Is that something that you see as an advantage, Steve?
Always. Knowing that you're playing against the quality opposition, and that you have to play well to challenge them, always helps. I mean, I think when you're a favourite, there's always that complacency, but when you're underdogs, there's always that fight. And I think the Greek team's built on fight. to get to where we are today has been built on fight. And I think, we'll fight for everything. We know we are underdogs, but, most of the players there will try their best and do their best for their families and obviously for the country of Greece.
Well, what does it mean for you guys to actually be doing this now? What's driving you? Is it the thought of... Lachlan Ilias was on NRL.com the other week saying, I'm doing this for Papua, for example. What is it that's driving you guys to do it?
Oh, I think it's quite similar. Everyone's doing it. I'm obviously doing it for my dad. As we discussed before, came to this country with nothing and he's given us, our children, everything. He watches the games. Actually get quite emotional talking about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I'm doing it for my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I'd say my family, especially my dad. He was obviously the one that taught me how to play footy, so to represent our heritage at the biggest stage is pretty special. But another thing, as George was saying before, something that's really big for me is the boys back home. Just to see every time we go over how keen they are to learn and to always improve, I think. And then especially when you're singing the national anthem and you look to the side and you see them crying and that, you don't want to let them down, come game time. So that's also another big thing that I'm really keen to get over there and just play for them boys, because this is probably the biggest stage of their lives, playing at this World Cup. So yeah, obviously going over there, not letting them down, that's another drive for me. So
yeah, like even just that World War II episode that we recorded, hearing what Greeks sacrificed and did. I guess that's what's coming out what the boys are saying. The Greeks sacrificed their lives and for us to have our freedom, and now what Steve's saying, putting that jersey on and doing it for your dad, that's what we're playing for, for our ancestors and what they did all those years, it is quite emotional actually, what you're saying.
There's going to be a lot of Greek Australians here in particular, and in the UK and wherever Greeks are around the world, watching this team, and they're going to be right behind you. For us, it's going to be surreal watching Greece come out in a Rugby League World Cup. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. So, boys, absolute best of luck. We're all behind you. Thank you so much for being here.
Really appreciate the time on Ouzo Talk, Tom and Nick. It's actually good to chat about it. I suppose it's become real again. Hey, Pete, Terry, you get caught up in life and COVID, and obviously the World Cup was supposed to be on last year.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of forget about it. And then us sitting here talking about it and chatting about it, I went, oh, God, that's on in 5-6 weeks. And all those emotions start coming out, and I'm actually quite looking forward to them running out for that first game, and also probably getting to Greece for those 4 or 5 days where we pick up the domestic players, and we haven't seen them for 2 years, and connect with the friendships that we've got there in Greece. So
just
thanks for the chat. I've actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good. I was going to say, has the year of COVID helped you guys out, that extra year?
I think it has, Pete, because Lockie Elias and Pete have had another year of football underneath them and have tasted first grade and all that experience, so they're going to be better for that game. A year older, yes, actually probably has helped us out. Billy Sakrikas at the Bulldogs first grade game. Billy Mamouzelos has played another year in England. Which is probably going to help him out as well. For some of the older players, maybe not, because they'll be a year older. This could be their last tournament. But for the younger players, it's really helped. Like I said before, it's been great chatting on Ouzo Talk.
Beautiful. But look, thanks boys for coming in. It's been great. We're actually going to see you at the function anyway. Me and Tom are going to head up there at the...
We'll be there for the
team announcement. So, but look, great having you guys here, I'm sure, and good luck, Pete, for your career, mate. I'm sure this is just the beginning for you, mate, and we're probably going to get you on again, aren't we, Tom?
Absolutely. Absolutely, mate.
Classic.
I won't be this year.
And Steve, mate, we'll be playing in Ireland together, all right, next year.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm looking forward to that. Actually, we might be... What month would that be?
August.
Maybe not. It's the end of the footy season. It's not happening. I'm going to miss out again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Can you not change it till about November?
It's Bill Harrigan, actually. You got to talk to him.
And we'll get Con on to Bill.
Yeah.
I don't know how they get on well.
Good stuff, boys. Well, thank you, boys, for coming in. Good luck this afternoon. And, we're going to catch up soon, I'm sure.
So, Nick, our first professional athlete's in here. What'd you think of that, mate?
Mate, brilliant. How good was that?
Yeah.
Hey? And how good's Pete? Very mature. He's going to be a superstar one day.
Absolutely.
We're so lucky to have him on so early.
I'm sure he's going to be in a permanent first grade position very, very soon, and I can't wait. I can't wait for him to be wearing that red and green every week. The more Greeks we have playing rugby league for the Rabbitohs, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, there's a few coming up anyway. A few coming through the ranks.
There are, and mate, we're going to be seeing them in that blue and white jersey coming up.
It's going to be good, mate.
Terry, you've been involved in the Greek Rugby League in some capacity virtually since its inception. How do you describe the journey that this young competition has had up until this point?
Hey, look, it's been a incredible ride. It's, a lot of ups and downs, but, we never gave up. I never gave up. I was always, I wanted the game to be played in Greece. That was the drive. And we, 2002, when we started this, the goal was always to go to Greece. It wasn't to keep playing in Australia. Some nations continue to do that. We haven't played in Australia besides the emerging nations in 2018 since 2009 because...
You're right.
Everything's now done in Greece and overseas. So that was our aim, and within 3 years we were playing our first ever game in Athens, in Greece. Who would have believed they were playing rugby league in Athens? And we had half that team were domestic guys. They were rugby union guys, and we just rounded them up, and we played Serbia. It was just incredible, and it all started. I love international rugby league. I've always loved it from a young kid. We're growing up, I grew up next to Henson Park, and I remember watching Great Britain come out here in 79, and then, New Zealand played Australia next year, and then France came out in 81. I go, what the hell, France? And then Australia went on the Kangaroo Tour, played PNG. I just loved international rugby league. And, in my work as a journalist, I covered a lot of international rugby league. I started, finding news about all these countries. Cook Islands started playing, and then there was a competition in America. I just kept writing about it, and then the World Sevens came around in 92, and I thought, how good's this? We had these teams from, Fiji playing, from Samoa and all that. And then... it's when Italy came in 95 is when I thought Greece could maybe have a chance, and I thought, can they? And you go to Greece and you look at the people and you go, nah, they're in the cafes. How the hell are we going to get them to play rugby league? I would say that. I love to, but you go to them and you go, they go, rugby league, they go,
To peponi.
They wouldn't know.
Their cigarette and their gomboloi and their frappe.
Yeah, frappe, stay in the cafe for 8 hours on average, with the same, one coffee, and I'm like, no, this is going to be hard. But hey, Italy done that with, and they got a lot of the heritage players. That could be the way to go. Then Lebanon followed. Maybe Greece can do it. So that's how it all started from.
So where were you, and who were you with when you first started? When did the concept come through where it got some traction, and who was with you on the journey?
It started with it was Colin Malonis. He was from day one. What happened is in 2002, and I first met him. He was going as a trainer to New Caledonia. New Caledonia were playing rugby league for the first time. They switched over from Union, and the New South Wales student team, the rugby league student team, was going over so they could play against New Caledonia the first game. And it was on that plane. I was sitting next to Colin. Didn't know who he was, I went there to cover it because I just started my magazine, Rugby League Review.
Yes.
And I thought, I'll go to New Caledonia, do a story on New Caledonia, great. Yeah. And sitting on the plane next to him was Colin, and he's like, I said, I'm Greek and blah, blah, blah. He said, when we went to New Caledonia, it was very easy to set up rugby league there on your new country. We went to the training sessions and that, and he was thinking, why can't we set up something in, for the Greek Rugby League? And I said, mate, good idea. Mate, I'm 100% behind it. I'll promote it. And, we've got to start in Australia. We've got no contacts in Greece. That's the reason a lot of things get started in Australia, because we've already got players here with Greek heritage. We've got a rugby league, background. We can do that. So we thought, well, why don't we, round up with the Greek guys and just say, let's get a team together. So I put an ad in the magazine, and within the next day, the phone just went crazy. People go wanting, I want to play. And I thought, we've got a chance here. We've already got about 20 phone calls. We decided to have a trial game at Northford Park in Sefton in Sydney. And we didn't. We just said to the players, just turn up. Bring your boots, turn up. We didn't know if it's going to be 5 people, 10 people. Look, I had an idea we'd get about 20, but let's just hope we get enough to turn up. We had one guy ride his bike all the way from Rosebery to Sefton on bike with his boots hanging at the back.
Who was it?
Well, it's funny because we nicknamed him Kramer from Seinfeld.
Okay.
And because he was very skinny, and we were worried we were worried that he's going to break in half, if he gets tackled. So, we bandaged him up. When he went to make a tackle, he missed the guy and he scraped his head.
Yeah.
So we had to bandage his head up, so his hair went up. Like Kramer in Seinfeld. So he was known as Kramer from that. And he was the guy that rode his bike.
Yeah,
so
right.
we just gave everyone a go. Just play. We played. New Caledonia came over. It was a try series. We played 20-minute halves against New Caledonia and the New South Wales students. So the actual first game was against New Caledonia, but our first official game was against Italy. And Italy, that was at Cogra. And we were supposed to have, Willie Peters, John Georgallis, Justin Chulos. So we were ready to play those guys. And because I had contacts with the Big League magazine and the editor and that, they put the team list in the Big League. And Italy had about 4 or 5 NRL guys. And we had, quite a few as well. So, with John Georgallis in there, they had Anthony Minicello, all these guys. But once we got in the Big League, the NRL clubs went, what the hell is this? They went crazy. They said, oh, no, you can't play. You can't play. So a lot of their guys didn't play that day. Anyway, we still managed to get 4,000 people to Cogra. First game, it was actually televised by Channel 31. We had it on the radio. It was great. So it was a good start.
I was there. Great atmosphere. I saw the game.
And it was, should have won that. I mean, it was a full, the referee, Dougie Keane, I don't want to mention his name, he called a forward pass and then they packed the scrum and scored with a minute to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Steve Georgallis played?
Yeah, he was captain coach. He was captain coach that day, and it was a great day. And then we thought, hang on, this is great. This is, we've got potential here. We've got good support, but we always thought in the back of my mind, I always kept saying, we've got to go to Greece. There's no point hanging around here. It's great to start and get support here, but why are we doing this? We're doing this to get the game played in Greece. And in 2006, we did go. We went there and played Serbia in the first game, first ever rugby league game.
Wow. So how did the competition over there get started? How do you go from having these matches here with heritage players to going over there, competition starting, and now you've got this other pool of talent?
Well, there was a few times we went back. We went back to, back again to Rhodes to play. So there was a few people that that they knew about the rugby league. And there was also people from rugby union. Like we did have drums with the union people saying, look, there's only one rugby here. We own rugby union, we own rugby league, all this rubbish. So people knew about rugby league. We went into a bit of a break from 2009. We had a bit of a 3-year break. So a bit of infighting between us, and we just let it go because there wasn't much happening. But 2012 is when things started again, because there's a Dane Campbell who played for Newcastle Knights. He contacted me and said, look, I'm helping our Vanuatu rugby league. He goes, I'm in a bit of a bit of drama here because we're supposed to play Fiji. And Fiji pulled out, and he contacted a few other nations, and he was getting desperate because he already had sponsorship from the Vanuatu government and other sponsors. The game had to be played. He said, mate, can you help me out? Would you be able to put a team together for the Greeks to come over? And I thought, look, let me ring around a few of the ex-players and see what the interest is. Within about a couple of hours, I've already got 10, 12 players keen to go. Wow. Dane just said, look, just get over here, just pay for the flights, and the land costs will be covered. The hotel, food. So it wasn't that much. It was just had to pay for the airfare. So we got a team together, and that's how we all restarted again. We went to Vanuatu at the same time. George Dalianos, and there was another guy called Tassos. Well, George Dalianos he's a guy born in Greece, born in Brisbane. Sorry, he's a
good man,
good bloke. He went to live in Greece permanently, and he told me, he said, look, he was just sitting there at his work, a bit bored, and he just did a Facebook page called Athens Rugby League. Yep. And just said, anyone interested, in coming to training. He didn't have anyone. And actually, he said, I think the first one, he only had 1 or 2 guys turn up. But it was just from there. The other guy called Tassos, who would give us troubles a bit later on, contacted him. Well, he was involved with the union before. He said he wanted to get involved with the league. And that's how he started in Greece. So at the same time, we're going to Vanuatu. These guys, started getting a few players together, training, word of mouth. And they started having a nines tournament. So they got 3 teams together and started playing nines. And at the same time, we're playing Vanuatu. We said, look, guys, perfect timing. We want to help, work together. And that's how the partnership started.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so and then from there you had Delianor registered, a couple of teams? What was the first team that was registered?
Well, the old teams was, I'm just going by memory here, but, Aikokinias, they had Prometheus, those kind of names.
Okay.
And then in 2013, we said we're going to come over, we're going to come to Greece, we have some training sessions. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to start going into these World Cup qualifiers, mm-hmm. we had to have a ranking. We didn't have a ranking. So we had to go and play a game to get a ranking point, so then they can put us into a group. So I just kept ringing, I kept ringing and emailing these nations in Europe. Yep. The funny thing is, I wanted to go to a country I haven't been before, and I wanted to go to Prague. So I got in touch with the Czech Republic, and are you interested in playing Greece? We'll pay for the costs, pay for our hotel, everything. So all you have to do is just provide a training ground for us. Czech Republic said, nah, we're going to get belted. I went to Germany, spoke to the late Simon Cooper. He's passed away now, and he said, nah, we're going to get belted. I said, it's not about getting belted. We're going to have half from Australia, half from the Greeks. We just want to play a game, and it is a ranking game. Try to get to the Netherlands. So in the end, it was Hungary. I spoke to the Hungarians, and I said, look, we'll pay to come there, and they were keen to have a game. And they said yes. Yeah, we're keen. So we went to Budapest. We went to Greece first, and because of the time factor, they already picked 8 players. The players were already picked. They had all these players. Some of them late 30s and that. And we actually, the first 13-a-side game tournament was Rhodes Knights. That was the first game they played in Athens, and they kicked off. Busters got the ball. Stefanos Busters got the ball, ran straight through them like a rugby league player. Yeah. And Steve was next to me. He just looked at me and goes, is he in the team? I go, no. Because I want him in the team. But it was already selected, and we'd already had the tickets done, things like that. So, but he goes, he's the first. He told him, he goes, you'll be picked. Next game, you're the first person picked. Yep. So we saw there was 2 games that day. So we saw potential in players already from day one.
Yeah, wow.
We went to Hungary, and that was Braithen Astor came with us. Mm-hmm. And he was still playing for West Tigers. Yep. So he came with us and played. His only game he played for Greece. He got very emotional. We played Hungary. We had half the guys. Look, we had Braithen Astor,
and he captained the side, didn't he?
He captained the side, yeah.
I think I remember seeing his pre-game talk on Facebook.
Talked about his papa.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He did get emotional. And look, we ended up getting home 90-0. And Braith scored 46 points. I did tell him, mate, couldn't even score 50, But the funny thing was, one of the guys from Hungary tried to line him up like a tackle. Tried to get him hard. And Braith just laughed at him, and he just got up, laughed at him. Next time this guy got the ball, Braith lined him up, and the guy was carried off.
Really?
Didn't play. He hit him with such a legit tackle. Yeah. The guy was like, he's gone. But yeah, they carried him off, and we had the 8 guys. The 8 Greek guys played and ended up winning 90. It wasn't about the score; it's just for us to get that ranking, and that way we can go into the World Cup qualifiers, which we did in 2014, which we won. We started from Group C, so that was the bottom group. Mm-hmm. Started with Group C. Malta and Czech Republic was. And like Steve said, we were only allowed 4 heritage players, so we still had to come up with 13 domestic guys.
So in 2018, is that when the official campaign started? You played Ukraine, from what I read.
Yeah, for this coming World Cup, we played. Ukraine was the first one, so we had to go to Kharkiv and play. Yeah. Because it was in September. Mm-hmm. Steve was with Bulldogs. He couldn't come. And our assistant coach, Jim Pizzanis, he couldn't come too because he was with Newtown. Yeah. So we really didn't have a coach. So it was going to be like Jordan Meads, our captains came, was sort of going to be captain coach. We did have the Greek guy, but he wasn't used to, that level. And
you didn't think about taking the whistle, mate?
No, well, what happened? Well, it's funny you say that because Sarge, which Mark Andrews is our trainer. He came with a head trainer, and I'll be watching the game from the sideline, and basically I would turn to Mihaly and say, mate, this guy's got to come off. So me and Sarge were doing the coaching on the sideline, and he'll say, this guy's tired, Terry, and I'd turn around, Mihaly, replace him, and that's it. That's how we worked. Yeah. But it's very hard without a coach. Yeah. I realised, forget about captain coach because Jordan's, trying to play in the field. Yeah. But we just couldn't get anyone. But we thought we could get away with it. And we almost didn't, because Ukraine already played Malta in the first game. Ukraine won. Ukraine wins this game, Greece is out.
Yep.
And we ended up winning 28-26. Ukraine wasn't a bad team. They already played in the European B Championships, against stronger teams. And they had a pretty good domestic, players, because 8 of them spent 2 months in England playing for one of the, the local teams. So they were prepared. They were a very good team. And I remember they came back. They were coming back with 11 minutes to go, and I remember all the Greek guys, when they scored next to the post, it was 28-20. They scored behind next to the post with 11 minutes to go, and you could tell, oh shit, this isn't good. Like, we're struggling here, and all the players were on the floor. They were on the ground, all about 10 of them. Sarge turns around to me and goes, "What do I say?" Okay, just tell them off as much as you can. Just tell them off. He went there. And Meadsy got up too as well, got to give it to him. He told them off so much. He goes, "Are you Greek? We're supposed to be Greek. Get up now. Have some pride in the jersey." I've never seen anyone give a spray like that, both of them. And the Greek guys just looked up and go, "What the hell?" Like they're being told off. But they got up, and that last 10 minutes was the longest 10 minutes of my life. I don't know how we hung on. Ukraine, mate, if they smart enough passed the ball, they dropped the ball. There was just some stupid things they did in the end, and we hung on.
Wow.
And that would have been the end of our World Cup, and we just hung in there for 28-26. Then we had to go and play Malta.
So just on that, so that spray, that speech that Andrews gave was the only reason why we're here today talking about Greece in the World Cup.
Yes.
If that didn't happen, Greece would have been gone. Yeah. No World Cup.
And the thing is, the 4 heritage guys, Sebastian got knocked out with about 20 minutes to go.
Yep.
So he had to come off. So Terry Constantinu got a shoulder injury, but kept playing. Jordan Meads got a bit of a knock, but he kept going. And then we had Robert Tulatu, who's our Greek Samoan.
Yep.
He got knocked out a bit. And he was knocked out. And I remember Sarge holding him up. And he's looking at me, and I was right next to him on the sideline, and I just went no, meaning don't come off. And he turned around to the ref and said, "Oh, his neck, he's all right."
Yeah.
Robert can't remember the last 10 minutes, but it took the hit up every ball. He took it up. He tackled anything that moved just on the emotion, and mate, lucky we had him in there for that last 10 minutes. And like I said, that 10 minutes was like an hour. My heart rate must have went. I've probably never seen it so high.
But I mean, it speaks volumes about the quality and the commitment of the local Greek players to be able to get to that stage and to sort of carry the victory towards the end, doesn't it?
I was so proud of them, and then, when they got up after the spray and they hung in there and they kept going. And when the game finished, they all collapsed. And there's a famous photos which I took of Bustas lying on the floor with his hands out, which they used everywhere.
Yeah.
He was just physically, that tired, but he was so happy, just like, we've done it. And then we can move to the next stage. We still had to beat Malta.
Yeah.
And, that's another story too there. We had to, play that game in Athens in secret.
Well, now that you mentioned that, it's really important for us to mention that the conditions under which Greece qualified for this World Cup and the conditions under which the Greek Rugby League has been operating over the last few years has been, to call it a farce or to call it unbelievable is not doing it justice. You guys have been playing games in secret in Greece, booking dummy grounds to put the police off. Can you try to sort of explain why it got to that stage? Because I don't think there's ever been a situation in professional sport where that's happened before.
Look, it can only happen in Greece. Now, a bit of a background so people can understand. In order to be a federation in a sport in Greece, you have to have 20 registered clubs. And when you're a new sport, 20 clubs, it's hard trying to get 20 clubs. So there is a Greek law that you can put, say, for example, rugby league under another federation, like rugby unions under handball federation. So you can put it under another one. But in order to do that, the governing body, which is the International Rugby League and the European Rugby League, have to sign off on it. Now, we went back to the guy Tassos was there, and he was the president. Now, what happened is in 2015, the clubs broke away. They weren't happy with, what was happening. Look, I really don't want to go into details of what was going on, but you probably can work it out. So the clubs broke away. They gave a vote of no confidence. There was threats of suing everyone if you play. Four of the 5 clubs broke away. One of them, they hung in there with him. So we got another team in, and we kept playing for a couple of years. The European Federation knew what was happening. They wanted all the paperwork because he was still the official body.
Sure.
But they suspended him first because he didn't meet all the criteria.
So this is the Rugby League International Federation that suspended.
Yeah, or the European Rugby League.
Right.
So what happened is he was part of Syriza, the political party that got in. He was a founding member. He had a job with the sports ministry, so he had connections. Before they got expelled, he got in charge of the modern pentathlon, and he put rugby league under modern pentathlon. How did he do that? Well, what he did is because the European Rugby League, International Rugby League would never approve it, he created his own federation. This can only happen in Greece. He just went there.
His own Super League.
Yeah, he created his own one called World Rugby League. And, he got his teams there, so he called it Greece. He went to the Italian rebels. There was a faction there that was, and got in touch with them. He got through to some guy for Pakistan Rugby League or something, and he called it World Rugby League, and he was the president of it. So when he did the paperwork, he signed off on it, from the World Rugby League Federation, approves it. So under Greek law, technically, he's done the right thing. He hasn't done anything wrong. He gets approved to go to under modern pentathlon. So Greek Rugby League, technically, legally, is under modern pentathlon. It's like a comedy show.
It is.
So what happens is, he gets in charge of modern pentathlon. We can't do anything because what happens is when we try and play games, mind you, he did get expelled after that. But if we try and play games in Greece, because we're not the official body, police turn up, they want to see the paperwork, which we haven't got, then they'll say, you can't play. Got to get off, go to the station, file a report. It was a nuisance. That's a problem. Then the game gets stopped. Then we'll try and play it another day. The problem with internationals, you can't play it another day. Malta turns up. If the police turn up, the game's off, we lose. So technically, we can't modern pentathlon runs rugby league. Meanwhile, at the same time, we applied to the International Rugby League and European Rugby League if we can be the official body. So they recognised us because they knew all we were doing. We were playing rugby league. So we were allowed to play internationals. We were the official body for the International Rugby League. So we were allowed to play the internationals. The modern pentathlon wasn't. They had like one team, two teams. They'll play one game every 6 months, where we were playing regular. The Malta game, if that game was forfeited, Malta wins 30-0. What happens there? They go through. We have to play this game. We have to win. It's important. So what do? The Malta players and officials didn't know when the game's going to be on. We know it's going to be on this day. You're going to go to the hotel. We're going to tell you the day of the morning, the bus driver will take you to the ground. It's all in secret. Look, I didn't even know. George said to me, do you want to know where it is? I said, no. Just tell me, in the morning. When I arrived with the bus, that was it. About 2-3 people knew. That's all.
Jeez.
And that game was due on the Saturday. So on the Wednesday, we have to do the decoy. I got up like 6:30 in the morning. I left 6:30 in the morning from Athens, went down and caught the bus to Patras. And Patras, we have a team in Patras Panthers. So, it's a 7-hour round trip. Got to Patras. The guy that runs the Panthers there, he picked me up. I went around Patras, like a tourist, took photos around Patras, the dock, the railway station, the famous steps, took photos. I went to the ground, took photos. I had polo shirt, official polo shirt, everything.
Witches' hats to put out.
That's Wednesday. I came back late at night. So the whole day I was in Patras. Came back to Athens. On the Friday, I put up on Facebook, on my own personal Facebook, out and about in Patras, and I had photos of myself in Patras. So you knew I was in Patras because it's all photos. Just as because this guy would be looking on social media, and you'll think, oh, all right, they could be in Patras because he's there. Anyway, on the Saturday morning of the game, I put up a photo of me touching the grass. Yeah. And in the background, you can see Patras Stadium. It was positioned perfectly, so you can tell. And all I said was 2 words: pitch inspection. That was it. Pitch inspection, and I'll put it up on Facebook. Yep. On the Greek Rugby League website, and that was it. Apparently, the police did turn up to the ground, and I think there was an athletics carnival there. There was a bit of argument and all that. Meanwhile, at the same time, the police in Patras were playing our game in Athens. And we ended up, winning 60-4 against Malta.
Wow.
We move on. I just kept turning around, just hoping, every 5 minutes, is any police coming? And when that full-time siren went, it was just a big relief, big happiest. And,
it just boggles the mind to think this is where we were at.
What a story.
During a test match.
Yeah, and the drama didn't finish there. When we played Norway, it had to be a neutral ground, so we played it in London. But when we played Scotland, we were supposed to play Scotland in Athens. We had to play at a good ground, and this is going to be so important because, this is Scotland and Serbia.
Yep.
This is a chance to go to the World Cup. So we did ask the European Rugby League, look, we've got drums here and all that. Spoke to the Scotland Rugby League, and they were fantastic. I said, would you be happy if we played it in London? They were over the moon because they allowed them to have more players. Because more players became available because I just get the bus down.
So you're giving up the neutral advantage.
Because we didn't want we didn't want the game not to be played because if it doesn't get played, we lose the forfeit. We can't afford. We need this game. It's not going to look good for us. So we played that in London, and then we played Serbia in Belgrade because it did come down to whoever wins between Serbia and Greece gets in the World Cup. And Serbia scored after 9 seconds. They kicked off, and the ball just held up in the wind. And we just, the two players were looking at it. It bounced straight to one of the Serbian guys, and he ran over and scored. And I think it's the quickest try in international rugby league.
Jeez.
Really? And they celebrated like they won the grand final. And we're just looking at each other. It was 6-0, after a few seconds. And people say, well, what happened? I said, well, the full-time score was 82-6. So...
More than a point a minute.
But even then, just to win, it was just a relief. Like, hey, we're going to the World Cup. It took a while to sink in that we're going to the World Cup, and I think hasn't even fully sink in until we walk out that first game against France in Doncaster. So look at this. They can't take this away from us. It's a historic moment for us, and it doesn't matter what the score is. It's just being there, and we've already got in place what we're going to do in the next few years. It's not, my concern before was, Italy and USA made it in 2013.
Yep.
And not a lot of things have gone, they made the World Cup and they thought, geez, rugby league is going to blossom. But it's gone backwards in both those nations,
This is an opportunity for Greece. Like, Greece could genuinely become a rugby league nation in some respect.
I agree because AEK Athens, which is, a famous soccer club, they've got a team in our rugby league domestic comp, and one of the guys up there, pretty up high, said to me, he goes, Terry goes, look, soccer and basketball, or they call it basket there. Basket. I remember the first time they told me, you like basket? Yeah. I go, well, why do I like a basket for? Really?
I like
basket?
cane
baskets, I can
but
carry stuff on the basket. Yeah. I didn't know what they meant, and then finally they worked it out. Basket, the sport. So that would be the two biggest things. Yeah, but the guy did say to me, he goes, rugby league can become the third biggest sport because the Greeks love it. Yeah. If they know about it, they'll really get behind it because they just love, the contact. They love, people getting belted. It's just, they really are meant, they built for this. Even the sponsors just love it. The spectators. So it's got a lot of potential.
And now, obviously, it has the recognition by the government. It's an independent sport, whereas rugby union is not. It's still under handball. What does that do for the game in terms of how it can flourish now? What opportunities does that open?
Oh, it's massive. It's massive because now we can get good grounds. Most importantly, training. Like, training now can be promoted. Like, people come and try rugby league. This is the ground. Before you couldn't. Before, an hour before training, you get a message going, this is where training is at. And people will, rock up. It's just, and people then will say, well, what's going on? We lost a lot of players, because of that. Not just COVID, but
because it was a covert operation to play.
It was, and this is going back to 2015. It's 7 years. It's not. It took a while for us to get to this point. And I've got to give to the guys in Greece. They had our support, yes, but they kept up the fight. And kept going. They could easily said, look, I've stuffed this, but, they kept going. They applied. Look, we got a lot of the ambassadors involved. Finally, because they went to the sports ministry. Once Syriza went out of power, they went to the sports ministry. But who comes out? The guy that's fourth or fifth in charge. You know what I mean? Yeah. What he's going to say? all right, we're going to take it up to the next level. Let's get the ambassadors involved. Everybody, a lot of the European Rugby League came to the party, International Rugby League, and they had a big meeting with the sports ministry, the actual sports minister.
So that's Lina Mendoni now.
Well, I think you know more than me. But the thing is, he said, look, legally, it doesn't matter how it was done. It's legally under minor pentathlon. If you guys, get 20 clubs, legal clubs, come and apply. We've got to do it the right way. This is the way it's got to be done, and fair enough. And so it was a long process for them to go around, get the clubs registered, everything. They applied in February, and when that message came through, George sent me the message saying, look, going to announce soon in about an hour. I'm just letting you know we've got recognition. I was like,
kidding. Wow.
I was doing cartwheels, If you saw, I was actually at my parents' house, and if you saw some lunatic in Marrickville dancing, that was me. And this is the most important thing, World Cup is, great, but this is the most important because now we can go to the next level. We can go into schools, they can try and get funding and they can promote it. That's
so,
the big thing.
So we've got 20 teams now in Greece. Is that what you're saying?
There's 20 clubs registered. A lot of them are not as big. So it's going to process through 2 divisions. 10 clubs are the big ones.
So Division 1, yeah.
We'll have that's how it's going to start, and then have tournaments with the other clubs to start.
Sure.
Start slowly getting into it.
Unbelievable. So 2 divisions, 20 clubs.
The first one
20 registered.
It'll be 10. Yeah, 20. There'll be 10. Yeah, there'll be like 10 to 12 coming season. Yep. The other clubs will be playing in tournaments. Just try and get them up to speed.
Yep.
It's fantastic. Do you know the names of the clubs?
The main clubs here, the ones we've got Rhodes Knights, which is they're the big ones. Then in Athens, you've got, and I hope I don't miss any, AIK Athens, Athens City Raiders, Attica Rhinos, Paramat Tigers, Peter Hills. We have got Larissa, Lamia. We've got Patras. And I'm missing Glyphada Sharks. Don't forget the mighty Sharks.
Sharks.
Yeah, the Sharks. They're also a union club. They've already played a bit of league. And last week I managed to get the Cronulla Sharks, after 6 months of me harassing them, to donate a set of jerseys, which I'll take with them. So, because the Sharks play in Uruguay, whatever blue jersey you've got, just turn up on the day. It just doesn't look good. So we've got the jerseys for them, so they look like a rugby league team. So
wow, Glyphada Sharks.
Yeah, so that's I've got a bit of a soft spot now because they are the Sharks, and they are light blue. So it's perfect. They are light blue, and Sharks the logo. So Cronulla Sharks is a perfect fit.
Yep. How good's that?
Fantastic. So when does the season start?
They normally start September. I know they're going to have a few tournaments before then, in September. So it's probably might even start when the World Cup finishes. The Greek competition goes from a few months. It goes from around September, October to about April. And people go, geez, that's long. But they don't play every week. And the smart thing is they play every second week, third week. So teams play 9-10 games a year, but they spread it out because, people go work and all that, but they can work around that. And any new nation, they should look at that kind of model too, because, every week committed, like, let's play 10 weeks in a row. Not a lot of people can commit to it, they've got work and all that. So it works perfect.
So even people in Australia, once your season ends in Australia, you can go to Greece and play a couple of games as well, possibly.
Well, they can, and that's why we have our international window in October, because we go there, they train, and they just love it. Like Steve said before, they all turn up, and you just see how excited they are and really into it, and you just, there's a big smile on your face when you see that.
Yeah. So we've got Bustos, you mentioned. Any other names you should look out for?
Well, Nyanyakis, there's another guy called Nyanyakis. He's playing in... he's in the army. He's a real tough bastard, and he's gone on his own back, gone to England, and he's playing for Woolston Rovers, which is like a feeder club to the Warrington Wolves in the National League. So he's been playing there for the last couple of months just to get ready for the World Cup.
Yeah, right.
What position is
he? He plays a back rower. He played against Norway. He's been playing for us in the last 2019, and Norway scored 2 tries in that game in London, and that's when Peter Mamouzelos scored 4 tries, which was a great effort from the Greek boys. And that's, again, we could only have 4 heritage players. So the Greek guys stood up. There's Greg Koo there. He's actually in Belgium, but he travels down to Netherlands to play rugby league.
Wow.
So, he's done well. We've got, a few of the other guys. We said Stefano Bustas, he'll be there. He's of course...
Love that name. Yeah, it's the best name.
Well,
it just reminds you of my uncles in the Kingswood in the 1980s. If someone would cut him off, he'd scream, "Hey, fucking Buster!"
Well, we call him Bloody. Is his nick? That's what Bloody. So Bloody Busters. It took a while. People didn't pick it up. Hey, Bloody Busters. The Greeks, Bloody Busters. So that's his name there. So. Yeah. There's Katsodonis too from Rhodes too. He was one of the players that came out 2018 to Australia.
Yeah.
Giannis Rus, he came over to Australia as well. He'll be there. So the 8 guys we've kept from last year because of COVID. There hasn't been too much rugby league activity. They're only just starting now to play again. So we've kept the same 8 guys. But I think in the next year or two, now when they're playing regular rugby league, there's no restrictions. We're going to see a lot of new talent come through.
The games are obviously going to be televised. Fox League in Australia is going to be covering the World Cup. How do you reckon the commentators are going to go with the Greek names?
Look, they're professionals. Look, they'll come to us. They'll come to us and say, "How do you pronounce?" That's what they do. Look, I've been involved for so many years, and I used to work at Fox Sports, and people will come. How do you pronounce it? And these days now, when you look at the media guide and that from the clubs, they actually have the pronunciation of the players
Phonetically, right?
Well, you've got the Islanders too.
Yes.
Like for myself, Liberopoulos and all the Greek names now, I like Smith and Jones. Especially compared to the Islanders. So
that's true.
It's not too hard, but we'll tell them how to say it. They'll probably struggle with 1 or 2.
It's going to be surreal though, isn't it?
I just can't wait because the first game is it's on my birthday, so it's like what a great birthday to just to walk out and just go, look, we're here. They can't take this away from us, no matter what the score is. Look, we are the underdogs, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People say to me, "Oh, mate, look, you're going to get flogged." We don't care. Like we want to go there to win. Look, we're not going to. We want to go there and perform. But
I know what you mean. Just seeing the Greek jersey run out and playing in a World Cup.
That's exactly right. And then 3 years later, we've got another World Cup that we've got to qualify for. That's another aim. We've got the girls. The girls are doing the World Cup qualifiers next year as well. Yeah. So it's just, who would forget about just the men. You told me the girls going to play. Greek girls are playing. They've got an international against Turkey September 25th. I'm like, I go there to the training and you look at the Greek girls running and I'm like, I can't believe this.
And they were featured on Alpha TV the other day, weren't they?
Fantastic. They just, they're getting a lot of publicity too. And, I can't wait to see how they go too. And it's just getting them to play. And then we're having a game here in Australia, January 28th. The Aussie Greek girls playing Philippines. And from there, we're going to select some girls to go over next year to Greece to hook up with the girls there and, mix with them and train with them and play in the World Cup qualifiers.
Is Jessica Sergius Greek?
That's what I was going to say.
She is, but she is playing for Australia. I did finally catch up with her, she acknowledges, but she's going to be, she'll be playing probably with Australia.
Yeah, makes sense.
We hope she does turn up to the game just to give the support. But we do have, a few other Greek girls are playing in the NRL women's competition. So Sammy Economos is one, and she'll probably be the captain. The Bent sisters too, like Shaylee Bent played for New South Wales this year.
Right.
She's Greek, so she's keen to play. She's already put her hand to play, and they'll probably end up going to Greece to play. And so there's a lot of good quality Greek girls there that they can mix with the other girls. And I think that's going to make a huge difference. So imagine that in 2025 we got both Greece in men's and women's. Just
unbelievable. It seemed impossible, so not that long ago. And yet here we are. We're about to be in a World Cup. We've got the women's game growing. We've got the domestic game growing. It just looks so positive. The outlook is so positive for Greek Rugby League.
I just look at it and I just go, how good's this? And
how proud are you about this now?
I'm very proud. And we get people that would laugh. Yeah, you're just a bunch of Greek Aussies. And they still do it to this day. And I've got thick skin, so I don't really. I've been getting this for 20 years, so I don't really care because I know what's happening in Greece. I know the amount of work that gets done from these guys, which is incredible. We actually got domestic teams, games going on. We've got men's, women's. Now we're going to work towards the juniors, especially now we've got. And people can say what they like. It's not like we're just all these Aussies dressing up as Greeks.
Yeah,
I know that's not the case, and they can say what they like. It's their opinion, but I know what we've got and what they're doing. And I just wish, a few other nations can follow that model because at the end of the day, it's about establishing the game in your homeland.
Absolutely.
No, that is brilliant. It's all started from a plane trip to New Caledonia.
It did, and who would have thought that? That was day one, and 6 months later, I went to see Steve. I went to see Steve to was it probably 3 months later from that first that plane trip, and I went and had a meeting with him in Coogee, and I just said, mate, would you be interested in coaching Greece? And he said, yeah, all right.
And why not?
So that plane trip now to Tuesday, the 18th of October at 12:30 a.m. here, you're going to be running out as at Keep Moat Stadium.
Yep.
Against France. And that's your
Unbelievable.
birthday.
That's my birthday. So we'll be 17th there.
How fitting is
and,
that?
Yeah, what a great birthday present. I couldn't wish for a better birthday present. And then we're playing England. Like, you know what?
Massive.
This is massive. Like for the players, I think they've sold already 25,000 tickets out of the 32,000. Wow. So it'll get up.
It's going to be packed.
Probably big capacity. Bremore Lane, which is a fantastic ground. We're actually going to go there the week before a special guest of Sheffield United to watch the game and be introduced. I think we're going to be introduced to the crowd or acknowledged. And the funny thing is with that game, we are the home team. We won the toss.
Yeah, right.
So we get the dressing rooms, which is fantastic dressing rooms. So even though England are playing, which is the home nation, we're the home team. So we get the home dressing room, and so
just imagine how good it's going to be to have Greek fans there up against the English fans. It's going to be unbelievable.
And also a lot of fans are in the UK. Greece will be the second team.
Yeah.
So, and we're playing Bradford as a warm up game. So it'll be good just to see some of the support there as well. And that game, every player if they're not injured, will be playing. We're going to use every single player to get a bit of a run. Give them a bit of some experience, especially the Greek boys, just to get the cobwebs out. I'm sure Steve and they will going to flog them at training, but it's just good for them to get a game under
their belt.
So how can people follow Greece's fortunes at the World Cup now? What's the best way to follow you guys?
Any news, they can get on the Facebook, which is the official one. It's Greek Rugby League Federation. Just type that in there. There is another page, Greek Rugby League Australia, which is we're linked. It's the same. It's same, but the official one is with all the Greek news. The Greek Rugby League Australia, it'll be behind the scenes with what's going on in the tour. We're posting it up. It's also for fans and family to see what's going on with the players and all that. Also, with the Fox Sports, you said we'll be covering it, and I just hope a lot of people will stay up and watch it. Yeah. And send us messages like support on Facebook. We love to see that. When people write good luck and all that. We do read it, and players read it, and it does make they feel good about it.
You guys launched your official jersey, the home and away strip for the World Cup. It looks fantastic. Where can people buy it?
Just go on the Facebook page again. We are going to have another link to where you can buy, but you just go to the Facebook. They email me, tell me the size, the pre-order. So they've probably got 2 weeks before we put the order in. So get in quickly. Look, there's no limit to it, so it's not like we're going to run out. We just whoever wants one, I'll send them the details, bank details, and then we'll order it. And by the time the first game comes around, they've got the jersey on, and maybe they take a photo. They can post it on their, the Facebook page.
Absolutely.
People don't realise how much money it takes to run this. Like,
definitely.
I think from, and I was telling Steve on the way here, we've probably put in 1.5 million in the last 10 years. And that includes players from here putting, paying for their own way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Definitely.
For rugby league. Now, it's getting up to about 200,000 just to go to the World Cup, even though, the World Cup pays for things. The funny thing is, we still have to pay to get to Greece because the World Cup only pays from Greece to UK. So we've got to get there. We've got a training camp in Greece. We've got to pay for that. Yeah. They only pay for 32 people. We've got a squad of 40. We've got to pay for the extra. So it's a lot of money. Yeah. We were a bit short. We were struggling a bit. It wasn't just fundraising with getting all this money. And Nick Politis came to the rescue. And I really, really, really thank Nick.
Good on you,
he
Nick.
said, this is how much you need. We told him and we said, what do you want to put on the jersey? And he just said, Kithira. Which that's his island that he comes from. Yeah. And he just said, put Kithira. And on the front of the jersey, that's what he says, Kithira,
Beautiful.
And how good is that? And it's really going to be, people already talking about Githira at the island. Yeah,
it's a great island.
It is. It's promoting the island. It's
had a lot
tourism.
of Kithirians on the podcast.
We've had many Kithirians.
Yes.
And on the back, he also got one of the spots in the back, and it's Aphrodite on the back. And people are saying, well, why Aphrodite? Well, God of love, she comes from Githira. So yeah. That's simple as that. He's not a smart businessman for no reason.
No, and good on you, Nick. It's
look fantastic. At Uncle Nick coming to the rescue.
Yeah, he's the best. We love you, Uncle Nick. Also, one of our sponsors is going to be your shorts sponsor as well.
Yeah, there's Meet the Greek. We've got Jim Searle with Country Homes, Quality Homes. He's been around for a long time. We really thank him. There's Sydney Electrical. There's a few of our sponsors here. They've been around for a while, and a couple of new ones. Making a big difference. It really helps.
Fantastic.
To just get across the line.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff to the Mamouzelos people and Meet the Greek restaurant.
Absolutely.
Champion people.
Well, look, I think that about wraps us up. Terry, mate, thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you for bringing the boys along. We wish you guys all the very best. And we're going to be sitting right on this couch wearing our Greek jerseys, following everything in the coming months.
No, I appreciate you having me here and the guys. It's only a few weeks to go before before the games start, and a lot of things happening. Not just after the World Cup as well. We've got European Championship next year, World Cup qualifiers start again. It's a lot of things we're planning for the future. So this is just the start of many good things.
Well, we'll have to bring you back then.
We will. Look,
again.
and just congratulations, mate, from what you've done, from that plane trip to going to a World Cup of Rugby League and what you've done in Greece. Awesome job, mate. You should be commended for what you're doing. So,
mate,
we're all proud of you, mate, what you've done. It's all because of you.
I appreciate it. And look, we've got a great team, everybody's putting the hard yards, the guys in Greece, here. Look, it's a great,
well done to George
great team
as well.
Great team, George, Jimmy, Mihalis, Ardis, all these guys in Greece. They've done a great job. The guys here in Australia, it's just we've worked together. We are a team. I keep saying it, we're a team, and that's why
spirit.
Yeah, that's why we've got to the World Cup and getting the domestic competition, getting the recognition.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody.
Perfect. So the listeners out there, Australian Eastern Standard Time, it's 12:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, 18 October. Greece versus France. How good's that?
Unbelievable. Gents, we could sit here talking about rugby league all day, and Nick and I frequently do, but unfortunately we've come to the end.
It is. It's a shame, but
how good is it, Nick? Seriously.
I love talking
Greece in a World
league.
Cup.
It is. And our favourite topic, talking rugby league as
That's
well.
it.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, we're definitely going to see you at the function up the road here to announce the team. Put an order in for me and Tom for 2 jerseys. I think we're going to get some.
Absolutely.
And so thank you, Terry, and thank you, Tom. It's been fantastic.
No worries, mate.
How good is it?
To all our listeners out there, if you want to get in touch with us, Ouzo Talk at outlook.com, and on social media, most social media platforms, at Ouzo Talk or at Ouzo_Talk for Instagram. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Ακολουθήστε μας στο Soundees, στο Spotify, στο Apple Podcasts και στο Google Podcasts.